Today I'm doing a beach sunset scene. This is a beach that is in Portugal, and I took a photo of my son standing on the beach. So what I'm doing is just adding some clear water for the sky. This is going to be quite a wet in wet painting, and I'm predominantly going to be using Yellow Ochre, Winsor Newton, and also Van Gogh Van Dyke Brown, and some Winsor Newton Alizarin Crimson that will make a kind of purpley colour. So I'm just getting enough water onto the paper. I've pre-masked out some areas already. And the paper is St Cuthbert's Mill, cold press, not 140 pounds, high white, and it's good stuff. So here we go. Get a bit more water up into the sky. I'm just using a Ron Ransom hake that looks like a 2-inch, I think. And now I've got a preloaded hake. This was a Frank Clark Simply painting one, and I'm just going to add into the sky now. And just adding in a little touch of Alizarin Crimson. And then I'm going to drop in a little bit in the sea as well. This is a mixture of French Ultramarine Blue and Alizarin Crimson. And everything runs when you're doing this technique. It's all part of it. You can just kind of bleed stuff away knowing that it's gonna really get sort of diluted as it dries. Work some more dark into here at the top. That's quite a mad bit up here. I'm just going to pile into that a little bit more with some of the basically purple mix. And I'm just looking to what I can mirror down below in terms of the mix. And then I'm taking my brush with the Yellow Ochre, and I'm gonna lay this down just around here, yeah, kind of pattern like this. And then into this we're going to drop some of the purple mix again. See, it's all just spreading, and we're trying to control it a bit with the angles that we use on the paper. That was getting a bit dry there. Just need to bring some even more of that into the foreground. Hazards of the trade is hairs from hake brushes. Oh, this is a bit too much water in here. Just mixing up a bit more of the purple. I should have mixed more. And I could just pick up some of this puddle along the bottom, so we don't get too many back runs. And I'm just going to pull out some white areas along here. So I'm still kind of keeping it very much as a wet in wet. So my head's probably in the way as I'm doing that. Some out here. Now that's not particularly working, that bit, so I'm going to stick some back in. And just fade out, fade out. You can sometimes rescue some mistakes. I'm just putting in some of the underside under this wave here. And hopefully that'll kind of pop when it's next to the white of the breaking wave. Sure, what's happened here? I think my paper went over it. You can just kind of re-wet a little bit. This is a Derwent spray diffuser bottle, and you can sometimes rescue things with this. Just bringing this sense of enclosure here. And again, I'll just pick up this bead. I'm just making it slightly easier on the paper itself. It can take so much in terms of water content when you're doing wet in wet with lots of water. And I'm just going to drop in a little bit of this crimson colour here, trying to keep the direction looking pretty wild, isn't it? Now at this point I would kind of tend to stop playing with it. Maybe I'll just drop in a little bit here actually. Something foreboding on the horizon here. I'll clean off one of the hakes. It's covered in alizarin crimson. I just want to make this into a thirsty hake. So that means I'm just dipping it in clear water, squeeze everything out of it. And I'm just going to use this to re-accentuate the horizon line. And just this bit between those rocks there. And now I'm going to stop and let this dry, and we can deal with some of the rocks on the left. I've let the sky dry, and there's a few bits that I'm not totally happy with, like I seem to have a UFO in the middle of the sky here. This was down to some of the paint was not completely wet, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to actually disguise this. I might see if I can put a flock of seagulls flying by or something like that at the end. It's just really annoying, that kind of stuff, and it's all part of the I kind of call it the watercolour gods, and how they sometimes conspire against you and just make your life a pain. Hence watercolour love-hate. I absolutely love watercolour, but boy, sometimes do I hate what happens. So okay, let's get back into it. I'm going to now deal with this headland. I'm going to be doing it with a dry edge all the way down here using a Scepter Gold 606 Sable Synthetic Blend 3/4 inch brush. And I'm mixing up some Van Dyke Brown Artist Quality from Van Gogh that I bought on a work trip when I was in Italy once. and I'm mixing up a really robust mixture. I'm actually planning to maybe work into it a little bit wet in wet as I go along. I'll just have a sheet of paper handy. Really trying to get it thick here. And as I said, although I want hard edges up around here, I'll do some kind of drop-ins of wet in wet. So I'm going to wet some of the area. This will make the paint flow quite a bit nicer onto the paper, and it'll also give me a few random things happening. I'm not going to wet it around here, except a little tiny bit there. I'm afraid this is all part of just the experience that you build up over the years, really. Wow, that's going to be strong. I'm just testing it against. Yeah, this is going to be dark. So, and I'm going to go in from the top here. Think of being a rock as you go down and do this. Go back into the paint. And I'm thinking about directionality as I go down. I'm not going to hit absolutely everything, but you can see there the hard edge against the sky. I'm just thinking about the rocks. Bringing it across here. Whoops. I love it when that happens. And then we got one of the rocks here. And he's got his friend rock next to him. Every rock needs a friend. I'm just going to switch to kind of the edge of my brush here. Got to think about a little bit of separation here with the rock that's more in the foreground. And I'm trying to remember that I mustn't forget this flat line here. So I'm just flattening my brush out there in the palette dish thing. So I've got a nice straight edge across, and then I can maybe just correct that a bit. And while I've got this, I'm just going to darken up some parts of it. Got a few nice little back runs actually that I quite like, and I'm just going back across the skyline here, just so it sort of pops and gives you more contrast. Because I don't use white paint, I just use the white of the paper, and you've got to use all the contrast you can get. Oh, hello, that didn't go well. I'm just going to tidy up along the base here. And there's some bits here, little rocks. Shove them in, shove them in. Straighten that one there. And then we've got another one in the foreground. I'm going to put a slight bit of red into it. Because you're getting some reflecting off the sky. Then I'm just going to go back in to the Van Dyke brown. And I'm just going to repeat and just shove a little bit more of that red in it. Gives it a sort of charge as it goes in. And so red will always pull your eye into the picture. And I'll realise that these ones will then need a bit of strengthening. And there's some here. I'm just kind of using the corner of the brush to do this. Okay, and I'm going to leave that to dry now, and then I'm going to have a think more about what's going on here with the rest of the beach. Before I do anything else, I'm going to remove the masking fluid that's in the sea, because this gives us some of the lightest parts of the painting. When you start a painting, you've got to think, what is the lightest colour and what is the darkest colour that I'm going to have, and what's the darkest value of colour that I'm going to have. Gotta admit, I do actually like removing masking from the painting. It's like a sort of reward. There's one here and there's one here. I'm sure some watercolourists can like mentally just reserve all the white bits of the paper and have some sort of memory, visual memory that allows them to visualise much better than I can where the wave crests are going to be. But I'm just using masking fluid. I put this on with a trusty cocktail stick, and that's my method. There might be some other bits in here that I've missed. Any more for any more? Where are you? And don't do this if you've just eaten a bag of chips or something, because it'll just ruin the whole painting. On the hate side of watercolour, love-hate, I've had it once where some kind person had actually stored some heavy object on top of the watercolour paper, and it didn't become apparent until I was about a third the way through the painting, and this massive mark appeared from where someone had put a mug or something on top of it. And yeah, all that preparation was ruined. So there we go. Now just to talk through what I'm going to do next. I'm going to wet some areas of the beach and just drop in some darker tones. I've mixed up some of the blue here with some Alizarin Crimson and some of the Van Dyke brown to give quite a dark colour, just so you can see. Yeah, and I'm going to pre-wet the beach. I'm always more comfortable about doing a thick mixture wet into wet somehow. Of course, I shouldn't really have put those rocks in, I'm realising. I've got a little inlet thing going on here that I'm going to try and preserve. This is my waterline here. Get that nice and wet. And you can just kind of turn your head sideways and get the light on it if you want to see exactly where all the wet areas are. So this is just clear water on a Ron Ransom hake. Is it pronounced hake or hake or something? I call it a hake. And here we go. This will hopefully give you an idea of the sort of perspective as well. I think I shall actually do the foreground first, knowing that it's going to get lighter as the paint runs out in my brush. And then I'm going to stop there this time. And just put in some sort of streaks. I actually need slightly more here. Bash it in. And just a little bit more strengthening here. With that. So I don't want to kill all the white of the paper either, but I don't really want to go over all the rocks. I'll just leave a little bit of separation there. Then again, I'm just going to leave it. You often think you can improve something by going back into it, but in watercolour it's usually a trap. Don't mess with it. I'm just going to flick that hair away. Ron Ransom's left me yet another hair to come out of his Pro Art hake brush. And I know they say, oh, just leave the hair in the painting and it just sort of sorts itself out, but I find that they cause problems for the painting. Right, I'm pulling a lot of paint out of the brush and I'm just running it along the edge here just to take up some of the excess. Just in case we get a back run. And I'm just thinking about this this waterline now. While that is drying, I'm just going to clean that brush. I don't know if I'm going to do another big wash with it.